Sorry for, here we go. I'm just messing around trying to get this, sorry. And it's blurry. Just trying to find the best orientation here, folks. So, I plan to do some art, and let me see, double check something here. There we go. It's the feedback. Sorry about that. Yeah, I have to. I have a monitor. Lots of yeah, I'm gonna have to get a better lighting setup. Anyway, all right. Well, maybe this will work. We'll see. We'll see how long this will work for. So, hello everyone. I'm just gonna turn that off because it's gonna distract me. But I wanted to kind of see what it looked like. And how it sounds. I might have to try this over on Facebook again. Anyway, hi everyone. This is Out of the Forest, and I'm going to do some art today, and we'll see how it goes, because I want to kind of talk. So, yeah, alright. So, apologies on the adjusting of this stuff. I'm going to try and see how it goes. Apologies, no one's listening right now anyway. But, we'll see. I am going to talk to you about out of the forest stuff. Alright, thank you. I know I do these being long pauses, but I'm kind of doing a monitoring situation here. And I kind of want to make sure that I am being able to see what it is that I'm doing and make sure that it's looking okay. So, welcome everybody. This is Out of the Forest. I do art as well for my business, Underground Fairy. And I make jewelry, and I've been doing some art journaling here because art journaling and art is a very healthy thing to do, especially with the craziness that is going on in our world. So I'm just going to talk to you. This is one of my new art journals that I started. I have another one that I do, and this is the stuff that I've started for this year. And I've been doing some collage work, and it seems to be working okay. This is actually my grandmother, and this text is from a letter that my grandfather, his wife, my grandfather, wrote my mom about my grandmother. So I made kind of a journal page for this, and it's a small format thing. It works really well. And I'm just kind of playing around. I work with jelly prints, which is really kind of cool, and I may do that in the future as well. But it's just something I can do to kind of get my mind off of things. I'm creating a lot of these different backgrounds and doing some art because I need to. And I did these last night. They're getting kind of gruesome, but they're cool. So, if you listen to me over at my podcast, Out of the Forest, I've been talking a lot about what is kind of going on politically. I don't even remember what the last thing I talked about. I honestly, my mental health has been a little bit shaky. I have ADHD, which people on my podcast know, and I know that the mental health right now is kind of the front and center with what is going on in our world, and it's troubling. It's like, how do we make sense of the world? Also, the issue of COVID brain fog is a big issue, and just kind of trying to navigate. Basically trying to navigate, what is going on in our world is really tricky. And when your brain doesn't work, it's really hard to kind of get a grip on everything. So, trying to make sense of everything that's going on, and these are some of my my jelly prints that I've done. Got a whole big folder of them, and I just kind of play around with them. I put some on tissue, which I really like that. I just kind of play around. I've got stencils, and I just do a lot of really cool little different prints. Some of them are on a tracing paper. A lot of it is just scrap paper. I rip them up and I keep them. I mean, I just create these really cool backgrounds, actually, which I really like this one. It kind of, but the jelly print is it's kind of well, it's a jelly. It's kind of a wobbly little plate, and you can just put paint on it. And it's just kind of nice. It kind of allows you to kind of just get out of your head. And so these are some of the different ones. One of the things that I've been trying to capture is getting a transfer, and there's text on here that you can faintly see, but I managed to get that, and I was very, very pleased with it. So, but I really like this. This was kind of a print that I did, and I just kind of did some random writing on it. So, but yeah, I mean, you can get these really, really cool textures and stuff. So it's really great for doing journaling, doing some art journaling. I got a bunch of templates off of Temu, and so I just work with them. But this is a better example of, so you can kind of see, I don't know if it's going to show up under thing, but you can kind of see the text. And I managed to, actually, is that one of them? This might not have been one of the transfers, but anyway. So, but yeah, it's kind of cool, and I kind of get an interesting texture on this. And this was just some random writing that I pulled off of the internet. There's another one. It's kind of cool. You can make your own. You can make your own templates. Do different colors. I really like this one. That one's kind of cool. This one's really neat as well. But I love this one. This was off of a template I got too. So I'm doing some basic, some different kinds of stuff, and then I can use these in other pieces of work. Here's a couple of pieces that I have. Yeah, I just, that's what I've been doing several months ago. Really like this one. I'm really into owls. Owls and peacocks are my big thing. I don't know if I'm going to be able to, you're going to be able to see this or not. Maybe it's like that. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm really enjoying a lot of these textures. So, I really admire all the people that do a lot of jelly printing and art, because it's a very therapeutic thing. It kind of gets you out of your head. And, it's been challenging lately. For obvious reasons, we're dealing with a lot of political stuff over here in the United States. Just a little struggle. And it's very frustrating. I really like these too. I really want to actually expand. I do have some larger canvases that I work with. So I really like this. This is kind of a cool purple and gold, kind of a greenish gold print that I like. Very Indian influenced. Same here. I like the metallic paints that are really, really cool. So, so I'm gonna. And these were some of the hand made stencils that I did. I created these, and so I might pull that aside. It's so funny. I create all these really great prints that I plan on working with, and then what do? This is my where I wipe off my excess paint, and I've actually been pulling these to make my thing because I'm like, oh, I want to preserve these for something else. So it's just kind of funny how we are about that. I like that. And again, like, I'm not picking my best stuff because, actually, you know what? I think I'm going to work with this today and try and make a larger piece of thing because I really don't like this. So I'm going to recycle the paper. So, yeah, so what was I talking about in my podcast last week? Oh, TikTok. I might have been talking about TikTok. So there's a TikTok ban going through the Senate in the United States right now. And it is very distressing because basically, let me just rip it up. See? Just rip! And it's just very distressing because there's all this stuff that is happening, and we're kind of really being lied to about this, which isn't just kind of par for the course a lot of the times with government and with corporations, and they don't really like to have the people be very aware of what is going on. And I've had many friends and family that are really freaked out by TikTok, and they've expressed that it's a very, very dangerous app. That it's a very, very dangerous app, and that, you know, it's taking your information. You hear that repeatedly. And I'm not saying that it probably is not going and probably getting information off your phone, but the way that the media and politicians and certain people want to make it sound is that they're taking your information off of TikTok and just putting it right directly into the hands of the CCP, you know, and it is really kind of ridiculous, honestly, because if you look at TikTok's ownership, they have a very diverse ownership, and the servers are based in the United States. They were moved over to the United States, so that they're not going directly into Chinese Communist Party headquarters or anything, but they would like to make you believe that somehow that is what is going on. And I am liberal, and I care deeply about free speech, and being able to speak freely. I was a communications major in college, and I really believe that we need to be able to have, in order to be an informed citizenry, especially anywhere, not just in the United States, anywhere, that we should be able to speak freely and to be able to communicate effectively with one another about issues that affect us. And I am very distressed, honestly, that there are a lot of people on the left, and I'm going to call you out, that are very defensive and say, well, it's a private company. If TikTok or Facebook want to privatize, if they want to censor information, and this specifically happened during the pandemic and COVID, they should be allowed to do it. That's what I heard. That if you don't like it, go somewhere else. And it's very troubling. And FYI, if you are on Instagram and Meta, you will want to go in. This just actually, they changed the algorithm recently, just in the last week, to where you will want to go into your settings. You can Google it. Go into your settings and change the access to sensitive content, because they've actually changed it, and they've defaulted it to where they will basically be filtering out any kind of quote unquote sensitive or political content. Okay, and that could be anything. They're not defining what that actually is, and they've just changed that as a default. And if you let that go, you won't see certain news articles, you won't see certain subjects. And so this is very disturbing, because this is what happened during the pandemic. We had, if you even mentioned the word ivermectin, for instance, even just to have a conversation about it, your post was flagged by AI, and you would be put in Facebook jail. And it was very troubling that this was going on, because it's like, okay, well, I want to have a conversation about it, and people are like, but that's misinformation. I'm like, what? That we're having a conversation to find out what the truth is about ivermectin? I mean, if you have a company or the government censoring your information because they have deemed something quote unquote misinformation or malinformation, That's a problem, okay? And it's very troubling that people are so fine with that they're okay because they don't agree with the information being posted, okay? And it's troubling because we're it's like we're not able, like, well, people can't be responsible, like people don't know how to handle this. Sorry, I bit my tongue. People can't handle the information out there. So the government or corporations need to basically control what people see because there are people who will not interpret the information correctly, and we can't have that. Well, that's not how to address that issue. You address the issue by basically teaching people how to handle the issue. You teach people how to understand their own triggers, their own deep shadow work that may psychologically preclude them to take information and do something dangerous with it, or go out and, like if they believe, people are like all scared that if you talk about something that is, let's say 9/11, we talk about 9/11 and then someone says, oh, well, you're just like a flat earther. Well, that is a logical fallacy. When you sit there and you're talking about a subject that people want to address and examine and look into, and you're labeling them as a crazy conspiracy theorist, you are basically silencing and shaming them. You're not saying, well, what is the truth about this? I mean, and they're like, oh, but the government and NIST and these other organizations have stated this is what happened, therefore you must trust them because they are the authority. Well, we all know that you can't always trust the authority, okay? And it is very problematic that people are so easily and willing to have somebody else determine what information they will see, what information they will talk about. And that's really not how you address it. You do not address difficult conversations by censoring. You don't hide stuff or silence people or shove them or, bury them down in the algorithm feed, shadow banning, that kind of stuff. And it's very disturbing that so many people in this world are okay with that. That they're okay with, shadow banning because they are scared of that information. Oh no, people are talking about vaccines. We can't have that, we must accept the official narrative about this or that, therefore let's silence them instead of actually having a rational, calm conversation about it and presenting facts and getting people to understand things and to correct them if they're, and you do that by communication. You do that by conversation. You don't do that by censoring and saying you're not allowed to look at this information because we have deemed that this is dangerous. You do it by having a conversation. And the more people that are conversing, we've been told, well, that's dangerous because the more people that are conversing, they're going to go down to dark rabbit holes and we can't have that. But most of the time, people are like, hey, wait, I actually learned something. And so with regards to, there's a really funny story I heard about TikTok just recently. Apparently, some politician, I can't remember his name, had gone into a classroom, high school classroom, to do kind of a meet and greet. Ha ha ha. Hey, I'm your politician, yada yada yada. And he immediately got grilled because he had voted for the TikTok ban. And it was very funny because all these teenagers were just completely started grilling him about certain topics of the day, positions that he held, all this other kind of stuff that you have been told that, well, teenagers are just, eating Tide Pods and doing weird dances and doing really crazy stuff. And in fact, this classroom proved him wrong. And they were asking, they were involved. they were asking pertinent questions, social questions, political questions, and they showed and demonstrated a deeper understanding about the world than we have been led to believe. And they were all on TikTok. And so it's interesting that, people and politicians want to basically censor it because they know that these kids are getting this information. They're actually being informed. There are, citizen journalists that are going out there and finding out information and showing facts outside of the mainstream media. And I don't think that the powers that be really like that. And they would have you be silenced, and they don't want you to know this information. So it was very interesting, and I thought it was kind of funny. And I'm proud. I'm like, yay, good. See, these teenagers are informed. They're getting out there. They're questioning their politicians. They're probably going to go out, if they're over 18, they're probably going to go out now and vote because they're like, hey, you're trying to censor what I see, and they're more wise than we give them credit for. So that gave me hope for the future, But I'm very disturbed that people who call themselves liberal would actually seek to be okay with censorship and say, well, that's dangerous information. We can't have people questioning official narratives because then they'll become an anti-vaxxer, let's say, about that issue. And that isn't necessarily true. I mean, but that's what we've been led to believe. That's what we've been told endlessly by various entities that you have, I wish I had I need my scissors, and I can't find my scissors. La 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 la. Let me see if I can find my scissors, and I can't. But yeah, so it's, these are important things that we need to be addressing, and I'm very disturbed that there are too many people who really are okay with having companies and defending and being apologists for private companies controlling well, they're a private corporation, and I'm not talking about hate speech. I'm not talking about hate speech. I'm not talking about racism. I'm not talking about violence. That certainly falls under the definitely falls under the area of censoring or removing or hiding that information, because some of that stuff can be really problematic. But there are people who are saying, oh, well, if you talk about this, therefore you're a racist, or you're ignorant, or you're dangerous. And it's like, well, no. I mean, I, for instance, want to be able to question certain vaccines, to be able to ask questions, to be able to question, are these safe? We're told they're safe, but is that true? And how do we know that it's true? How do we find out information about this? Informing ourselves, being able to educate ourselves about scientific studies. We are a woefully ignorant society, and that we're not being taught the proper skill sets in order to find out about the facts, or understand about science, or understand about things. We're just saying, oh, well, that sounds sciencey, therefore we must accept it. That's not science. You're not practicing science when you do that. You only practice science when you question and you understand. And when people say, but people don't understand science, like, well, then you teach them science. You don't silence them because you're afraid that, oh, well, these people are going to take this information. Like, there's the database that captures adverse vaccine events. And the argument was, well, we can't report it because then people will go into that database and cherry pick the data, and we can't have that. And instead of actually just capturing the data and letting the data speak for itself, and instead of being afraid of what someone might do with the said data, and it's like there's a really great quote by Sir Thomas Morton called, let me pull it up real here. Hold on. Bear with. Okay, the quote is, and this is from, sorry, did I say Thomas Morton? Thomas More. The quote goes, and it's from his book, Utopia. This is Sir Thomas More, Utopia. For if you suffer your people to be ill-educated and their manners to be corrupted from their infancy, hold on, I hate that. For if you suffer your people to be ill-educated and their manners to be corrupted from their infancy, and then you punish them for those crimes to which their first education disposed them, what else is to be concluded from this, but that you first make thieves and then punish them? And I really like that quote because that is basically, we do not educate people properly. We do not give them the tools to be able to understand the world around them or to understand how to think. And then when they do wrong things or they don't understand things, we punish them for it. Well, that's because that's on you, society. People don't really want to, and it's very troubling because the far right has a tendency. I mean, I don't have anything against homeschooling per se. I think that homeschooling can be done well, but unfortunately, more often than not, it is done badly. And it is very troubling because these people are scared and they know that if they allow their children to think independently of their religious belief systems, that they have their culture, that they defend so vociferously, they're like, oh, well, I want my child to grow up with, these values, that these people, so they take them out of school. They take them out of school and they only teach what they want their children to know because they are scared of information. They're scared of knowledge. And I've noticed how the left has done very similar things as well. And I always will, I think that it's very bad that we do that. And, I understand that people are tired and burned out on politics. I get that. Politics is very burned out. Understanding about propaganda and understanding about how you are being manipulated and how your thoughts and your actions are being controlled is a very important part of that. And we just get very tired. And I think that our being tired is by design. So, but anyway, so just some food for thought, just go into your Instagram Meta account and change those settings if you want to be informed. If you just want to get nice little kitty cat videos and not really think about stuff, then, censor everything. And then you'll only get the happy stuff because I know we're all tired, right? We're all tired and we don't like the world and it's like blah, we need breaks. So we want to have our information censored so we don't have to think. So if you want to go do that, go do that. But for all of you that do want to get information and are not scared by information, go ahead, change your settings on that and inform yourself about everything. But with that, I'm going to end the video for now. Because I don't know if this is even still doing live. Anyway, this is primarily an experiment, and I am going to go. So thank you very much for joining me. Thanks for your patience. I just kind of wanted to see how this setup worked, and we'll go from there. All right, you have a great day. Thanks. Let me see if I can turn this off. Let's see. Bear with. I'm like...